Imagine this. It's the early 1900s, Chicago. The world is rushing into modernity. Factories, electricity, the promise of science. But beneath the noise, something else stirs. A small, unmarked book quietly appears in 1908. Its cover simple, its title strange. The Kybalion. No author. Just the cryptic phrase, the three initiates. At first glance, it seems like a curiosity. But what if I told you that this hidden book went on to shape nearly every modern spiritual movement you know today? From the New Thought movement to the New Age explosion, from the law of attraction craze to the self-help industry that fills today's bookstores, it all traces back to the Kybalion. And tonight, I want to show you how this little book became a hidden root of modern spirituality. Now here's the strange thing. Most people who talk about manifestation, vibration, or the power of thought have never even heard of the Kybalion. And yet, they are repeating its ideas, word for word. It's like the ghost of the Kybalion lives on in 1,000 new voices. So how did that happen? And why does this forgotten text still echo in our culture more than a century later? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll see how this forbidden book secretly rewired the way the modern world thinks about reality. Let's rewind. In the late 1800s, America was in the middle of a spiritual revival, not the kind you find in churches, but in hidden circles, small study groups, occult lodges, and societies of seekers. Theosophy was rising, with Madame Blavatsky claiming to bring ancient wisdom from the East. Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism were rebranding themselves, attracting intellectuals, philosophers, even politicians, and the New Thought movement was spreading like wildfire, teaching that the mind could heal the body, that thought could shape matter. Into this atmosphere, the Kybalion was born. It presented itself as a voice of Hermetic philosophy, a system of universal principles said to go back to ancient Egypt and Greece. But its timing was no accident. It entered a world hungry for a bridge between science and spirituality, between tradition and progress. And that's what made it so powerful. The principle of mentalism, that everything is mind, became the seed of modern psychology, positive thinking, and eventually the law of attraction. The principle of vibration, everything moves, turned into the language of energy healing, frequency, and today's obsession with raising your vibration. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, echoes in modern metaphysics, quantum mysticism, even the way self-help authors talk about aligning inner and outer worlds. It is almost impossible to trace the full reach of the Kybalion because its ideas spread like underground rivers. They seeped into Theosophy. They surfaced in New Thought. They were quietly studied in Masonic lodges and Rosicrucian temples. And eventually they exploded into the culture through the New Age movement of the 1960s and 70s. By the time The Secret made law of attraction a household phrase in the 2000s, the DNA of the Kybalion was everywhere. But almost no one knew its name. Here's the fascinating part. The Kybalion didn't just influence spirituality. It shaped psychology and self-help too. William Walker Atkinson, believed by many to be one of the hidden authors, was himself a pioneer of the New Thought movement. He wrote about the power of concentration, the subconscious, and the mental causes behind physical effects, decades before modern psychology caught up. Think about how common phrases are now. You create your reality. Your thoughts become things. Everything is energy. To most people, these sound like modern motivational slogans, but they're actually Hermetic echoes, traces of the Kybalion reverberating across generations. And here's where the story takes a twist. If you pick up the Kybalion today, it doesn't feel modern at all. The language is archaic. The style is cryptic. It feels like a riddle wrapped in another riddle. Many readers put it down within a few pages. And yet hidden in those pages are the very principles that built entire industries of spirituality and self-help. And this is why, for some seekers, decoding the Kybalion has become almost an obsession, taking its dense sentences and turning them into living wisdom you can use. I came across one such guide. It's called The Kybalion Decoded, 7 Hermetic Laws for Mastering Reality. It doesn't replace the book. It acts like a lantern, showing the path hidden between the lines. If you're curious, I'll leave a link in the description and in the first comment. Just think of it as a whispered recommendation. Now, back to the bigger picture. The Kybalion's legacy is not just about philosophy, it's about transmission, ideas surviving across time by embedding themselves into new forms. When Theosophy spoke of universal wisdom, it was channeling Hermetic echoes. When Rosicrucians taught about correspondence and alchemy, it was Hermetic echoes. When Freemasons wrote about light and balance, Hermetic echoes. And when today's spiritual teachers talk about manifestation, vibration, and energy, again, Hermetic echoes. This is why some call the Kybalion the hidden root of the New Age. It is not the whole tree, but without it, the branches wouldn't look the same. And here's the revelation. The Kybalion survived because it was written without an author, without a face, without a personality to attack or dismiss. The three initiates became no one, and therefore everyone. That anonymity allowed the ideas to outlive the personalities of their time. And it's why today, long after its first printing in 1908, its principles still feel alive. They've been repackaged 1,000 ways. But at the core, they remain the same 7 laws. So what does this mean for you? It means that the phrases you hear every day about energy, vibration, thought, attraction, aren't just trends. They are part of a lineage, a hidden current of wisdom flowing beneath the surface of modern culture. To understand the Kybalion is to see the root, not just the branches. And when you see the root, you have power. You know where these ideas come from. You know why they endure, and you know how to apply them consciously, rather than repeating them as empty slogans. So here's the secret. The Kybalion was never just a book. It was a transmission, a spark passed down from Hermes Trismegistus, through hidden schools, through initiates, through lodges, until finally it reached the modern world. And whether people know it or not, they are still living in its shadow. That is the hidden influence of the Kybalion. In our next episode, we'll step deeper into one of its echoes, the way Hermetic principles weave into the modern obsession with manifestation. You'll see how an idea thousands of years old suddenly became a billion-dollar industry. Until then, remember, knowledge is power, but hidden knowledge is transformation. If this exploration has given you something to think about, I invite you to subscribe. Because we are only just beginning to unlock the vault, and there are many more secrets waiting in the dark. Welcome to Occultus.